Welcome. Welcome to this night's Christmas Eve service at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Idaho Falls. My name is Victoria McDonald, and I'll assist the Reverend Kevin Carson this evening. Again, welcome. Whether you are in person or streaming, whether you are well or hoping for good health, no matter your material status or accomplishments, no matter your past mistakes, you are welcome. The only announcement is that there will be no service on Sunday, December 28th, which is 2 days away. Sunday services will resume January 2nd, 2022. And a poem by Tom Shade, who's a Unitarian Universalist, titled, "Hear the Angels Sing." Night has fallen. Stars beckon in an indigo and velvet sky. Somewhere a baby is being born. Tonight the world blazes in a love of goodness, while glories stream from heaven afar. God is meeting us tonight where we are. So be not afraid and be of good cheer. We wish you, each and all, a Merry Christmas. The hopes and fears of all the years have been met, so rest beside the winding road and hear the angels sing. And we hope all of you have a candle for lighting, and they're back there in a basket right by the door. And now Jessica Kuipers will play O Come, Emmanuel.
We will now light our chalice. I will light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all the sadness, candles of hope where despair keeps watch, candles of courage where fear is ever present, candles of peace for tempest-tossed days, candles of grace to ease heavy burdens, candles of love to inspire all of my living, candles that will burn all the year long. Our opening words this evening, old habit, is the poem Little Tree by E. E. Cummings, a Unitarian, by the way. Little tree, little silent Christmas tree, you are so little you are more like a flower. Who found you in the green forest? And where were you very sorry to come away? See, I will comfort you because you smell so sweetly. I will kiss your cool bark and hug you safe and tight, just as your mother would. Only don't be afraid. Look at the spangles that sleep all the year in a dark box, dreaming of being taken out and allowed to shine. The balls, the chains, red and gold, the fluffy threads. Put up your little arms, and I'll give them all to you to hold. Every finger shall have its ring, and there won't be a single place dark or unhappy. Then, when you're quite dressed, you'll stand in the window for everyone to see, and how they'll stare. Oh, but you'll be very proud. And my little sister and I will take hands, and looking up at our beautiful tree, we'll dance and sing, Noel, Noel. Our first carol is number 228, Once in Royal David City.
Hello, my name is Davette Bogart, and I'm going to be reading you a little story about a red cardinal. His name is Carl, and he actually lives in a fir tree. So he wrote this message to his friends. It says, "Dear friend, in the 12th month, on the 21st day, you will wake up to the first day of winter. It is called the winter solstice, and there's excitement in the air. The winter solstice is the shortest day of the year and the longest night. Starting the next day, however, the sun shines a little bit longer each day. To welcome this return of the sun's light, all of nature has a party that lasts 12 days. And then on the next page, he goes on to describe this. He said, on the first day of winter, the good earth gave to the sun a gift. On the second day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 2 gifts. On the third day, the good earth gave the sun 3 gifts, and so on and so on. Then, on the 12th day of winter, something magical happens. And so you need to be ready. Your friend, Carl, that's Carl that lives in the fir tree. Really bright red bird. And then he sent out invitations. You are invited 12-day winter solstice party. Where? By the big fir tree. When? December 21st. Hope to see you there. So on the first day of winter, the good earth gave the sun a cardinal in a fir tree. On the second day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 2 polar bears and a cardinal in a fir tree. On the third day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and a cardinal in the fir tree. On the 4th day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and a cardinal in the fir tree. On the 5th day of winter, the good earth gives the sun a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and a cardinal in a fir tree. On the 6th day of winter, the good earth gives the sun 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and a cardinal in the fir tree. This is 1 cardinal in the fir tree now. On the 7th day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 7 salmon streaming, 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bear, and a cardinal in a fir tree. On the 8th day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 8 foxes napping, 7 salmon streaming, 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and that cardinal in the fir tree. On the 9th day of winter, the good earth gave the sun 9 field mice nibbling, 8 foxes napping, 7 salmon streaming, 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and a cardinal, the same one, in the fir tree. On the 10th day of winter, the good earth gives the sun 10 birch trees dreaming, 9 field mice nibbling, 6 foxes napping, 7 salmon streaming, 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 2 caribou, 2 polar bears, and that cardinal in the fir tree. Now on the 11th day of winter, The good earth gives a son, 11 barn owls swooping, 10 birch trees dreaming, 9 field mice nibbling, 8 foxes napping, 7 salmon streaming, 6 rabbits romping, a 5-pointed star, 4 jolly snowmen, 3 caribou, 2 polar bears, and the Cardinal Carl in the fir tree. Now, on the 12th day of winter, something magical happens. Rising a little bit earlier than the day before, of course, the sun gazes down on the wonderful gifts of the good earth that the good earth has given him. What can I give in return, he wonders. And then he has an idea. Some stretching his rays of light far, far out into the future, he lassos 12 gifts for the final day of the celebration. 12 months of days awaiting. Oh my, exclaimed the good earth to all of nature, all around this fir tree. That's a whole year full of magical days. And hearing this sends them 11 barn owls hooting, 10 birch trees dancing, 9 field mice fiddling, 8 foxes trotting, 7 salmon singing, 6 rabbits twirling, 5 pointed star is now blinking, 4 snowmen skiing, 3 caribou prancing around, 2 polar bears skating, and a whole fir tree full of red cardinals. The end. Now, we're going to have a hymn number 244, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. Thank you.
It came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the
Our next story is Harriet Martineau's account of the first Christmas tree in America from 1838. Both this story and the one you'll hear in a few minutes are from Susan Ritchie's book, How the Unitarians and the Universalists Invented Christmas, an anthology of historical Unitarian Christmas stories. Though he is only referred to as the father in the story, in Martineau's account, the story takes place in the home of the Reverend Charles Follen, who was a professor of German language at Harvard and a brilliant Unitarian minister and ardent abolitionist. Born Karl Theodor Christian Friedrich Follen, as you might have guessed, he was born in Germany and immigrated to America in 1820 after being caught up in political unrest. He died in 1840 at the age of 43 in a tragic shipwreck when his steamer caught fire and sank in Long Island Sound on the way back to Boston. His introduction of the traditional German Christmas tree is believed to be the first known example in America. I was present at the introduction into the new country of a spectacle of the German Christmas tree. My little friend Charlie and his 3 companions had long been preparing for this pretty show. The cook had broken her eggs carefully in the middle for some weeks past, that Charlie might have the shells for cups. And these cups were gilded and colored very prettily. I rather think it was, generally speaking, a secret out of the house, but I knew what to expect. We were sent for before dinner, and we took up 2 round-faced boys by the way. Early as it was, we were all so busy that we could scarcely spare a respectful attention to our plum pudding. It was desirable that our preparations should be completed before the little folks should begin to arrive, and we were all engaged in sticking on the last of 7 dozen of wax tapers and filling the gilded egg cups and gay paper cornucopii with comfits, lozenges, and barley sugar. The tree was the top of a young fir, planted in a tub which was ornamented with moss, and smart dolls and other whimsies glittered in the evergreen, and there was not a twig which had not something sparkling upon it. When the sound of wheels was heard, we had just finished, and we shut up the tree by itself in the front drawing room, while we went into the other, trying to look as if nothing was going to happen. Charlie looked a great deal like himself, only now and then twisting himself in an unaccountable fit of giggling. It was a very large party. Besides the tribes of children, there were papas and mamas, uncles, aunts, and elder sisters. When all were come, we shut out the cold. The great fire burned clearly. The tea and coffee were as hot as possible, and the cheeks of the little ones grew rosier and their eyes brighter every moment. It had been settled that in order to cover our designs, I was to resume my vocation of teaching Christmas games after tea, while Charlie's mother and her maids went up to light up the front room. So all found seats. Many of the children were on the floor for a game of old coach. It was difficult to divide even an American stagecoach into parts enough for every member of such a party to represent one, but we managed it without allowing any of the elderly folks to cut out. The grand fun of all was to make the clergyman, an aunt or two, get up and spin around. When they were fairly practiced at the game, I turned over my story to a neighbor and got away to help light up the tree. It really looked beautiful. The room seemed in a blaze, and the ornaments were so well hung that no accident happened except that one doll's petticoat caught fire. There was a sponge tied to the end of a stick to put out any supernumerary blaze, and no harm ensued. I mounted the steps behind the tree to see the effect of opening the doors. It was delightful. The children poured in, but in a moment every voice was hushed. Their faces were upturned to the blaze, all eyes wide open, all lips parted, all steps arrested. Nobody spoke. Only Charlie leaped for joy. The first symptom of recovery was the children wandering around the tree. At last, a quick pair of eyes discovered that it bore something eatable, and from that moment, a babble began again. They were told that they might get what they could without burning themselves, and we tall people kept watch and helped them with good things from the higher branches. When all had had enough, we returned to the larger room and finished the evening with dancing. By 10 o'clock, all were well warmed for the ride home with steamed mulled wine, and the prosperous evening closed with shouts of mirth. By a little after 11, Charlie's father and mother and I were left by ourselves. I have little doubt that the Christmas tree will become one of the most flourishing exotics of New England. Please enjoy our choral anthem, Good King Wenceslas.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the story round about, deep and crisp and even, brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel. When a woman came in sight, carrying winter, carrying winter. He the patient stand by me, if thou dost it telling, yonder peasant who is he, where and what is dwelling? Siding is a goodly fence, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, spice and darkness, spice and darkness fountain. Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me my love's dinner. Go and I will see him die, when we hear them thither. Preaching onward, forth they went together. Through the woodwinds while the bells, and the beats were merry. So the night is darker now, and the wind blows stronger. Praise my heart, I know no longer. Mark my footsteps, my good page, will go in the glory. Thou shalt find the winter's rage, breathe thy bloodless, breathe thy bloodless heart. In his master's steps he trod, where the snow lay dinted. He was in the very sun which the saint had printed. Therefore Christian men be social and possessing. Ye who now in Western Hall, show yourself a
I found the recorder on that piece just amazing. She was fantastic. Our last story is a Christmas parable written by the Reverend Samuel McCord Crothers in 1923. Please note that the date and the order of service is incorrect due to a faulty cross-reference in the source. Crothers was first ordained as a Presbyterian minister, but converted to the Unitarian Church in 1882. He was a popular essayist and served as the minister of the First Parish Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts. His story borrows characters from the traditional nativity story, but as you will hear, he emphasized a more humanist interpretation of the sacred already present in the world. A Christmas parable. Once there was a king who always had his own way. He had always about him people who looked up to him, so he had formed the bad habit of looking down on them. He had a great contempt for common people and common things. On Christmas Eve, the people, young and old, wanted to come to the palace to sing a song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. But they were very common people who made their living by digging in the earth and caring for the things that grew out of it. "The song is all right," said the king, "but I don't care to hear these people sing it. They are not my kind, and there are too many of them anyway. But I should dearly like to hear the angels sing up there in the sky. I have a taste for things spiritual. I should dearly love to see the harps of gold." So on Christmas Eve, he forbade the people to come to the palace. The crier made the proclamation that the king must not be disturbed. He and the young prince would sit up on the holy night to hear the angels sing. For the king was very religious, and as he was used to being obeyed, he had no doubt that the angels would sing for him when they learned that this was his royal pleasure. He was anxious that his young son should be there to enjoy the miracle. They waited for the midnight, but no angels came. "That is strange," said the king, who was accustomed to promptitude. He went to the window and saw a star. "Who are you?" asked the king. "I am the star which guided the wise men to the place where the young child lay." "Is that all?" said the king. "Stars are common. I've seen thousands of them, and have not enough interest in them to want to ask their names. There are so many of them, they are like the dust which rises from my chariot wheels. One can see a star on any night." So the star faded away, and the king saw it no more. But the young prince went out and stood under the full sky of stars. There were thousands of them, and each one was wonderful. And to think that they had been shining since before he was born. When he came back, his eyes were glowing. "Father, you should go out and look at the stars, how they shine." "I've seen them before," said the king. As they looked out from the palace, they saw the shadowy forms of 3 ungainly beasts. Their steps were noiseless, and they moved slowly as if they'd come a great distance. And one of them was lame. "Who are you?" said the king gruffly. "We are the 3 camels on which the wise men rode when they followed the star to the place where the young child lay. We have crossed wide deserts, and we are hungry and thirsty and tired." "What is that to me?" said the king. "My son and I are waiting to hear the angels sing. We have never seen an angel or heard one, but we can see camels any day. Be gone to your desert, you ugly brutes." But the young prince slipped out into the dark and gave the camels food and drink. "Angels," he said, "can take care of themselves, but camels must be fed." Then in the darkness appeared other creatures, moving forms. "Who are you," said the king, "that you come to disturb my royal meditation?" "We are the oxen who stood by the manger in which the Christ child was laid." And other voices added, "We are the sheep that were in the fields of Bethlehem." "Camels and oxen and sheep," said the king. "Why should I be troubled with these earthly things on the one night when I want to feel religious?" Then there came from the king's park 3 poor men in rough clothing, leaning heavily on their staves. "Who are you?" asked the king. "We are the poor shepherds of Bethlehem who watched over our sheep on the night when we heard the multitude of the heavenly hosts singing, 'Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.'" "You heard it? A multitude of the heavenly hosts singing to such as you? You come to mock me." And he drove them away. His young son said not a word, but stole swiftly after them, for he wanted to talk with the friendly shepherds and hear the tale. Still the angels delayed. At last, a young boy came unannounced. "Who are you?" growled the king. "I am the Christ child." "I did not recognize you," said the king. "I thought you would be different. You look much like the children I have known." "Did you know them?" said the Christ child. "If you had really known them, you would have known me." At this time, we'll be passing the light from our chalice around the room, and then we'll dim the lights for our singing of Silent Night, or at least listening to Silent Night. You feel free to hum along boisterously under your mask if you choose. And I'll ask you to keep the candles lit through the closing words and extinguish them during the postlude. And please, when you extinguish your candles, remember that you're wearing masks. You'll probably have to lift them slightly to extinguish them, and I don't want you to set your mask on fire, so take extra care. A lot of these candles have gotten kind of banana-shaped over the years, it looks like, I'd noticed tonight, so be extra careful. So we'll now, Victoria and I go past. One of my favorite sights all year is looking out from the pulpit and seeing the candles and all the faces. It's just a lovely view, and I'm glad we were able to do that this year. Our closing words are "The Holy Dwells Within Each of Us" by Rene Rahutsky. The Spirit of the Holy dwells in each of us. The Spirit of love dwells in each of us. May the flames in our hands remind us that eternal love dwells in our hearts. May the flame in our hands remind us that the Spirit of life dwells among us as we gather as a faith community. May the flames in our hands remind us that the arc of the universe needs our embodied love and faith to bend toward justice. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all. Please enjoy our postlude.